In the Northern Hemisphere, have you been feeling recently as though you've got invisible lice all over your skin? I noticed such a huge difference over the last few weeks that my skin has just become super itchy, and it is one of the lesser known symptoms of menopause. I'm going to dive into the causes of it and also natural ways that you can help combat that itchiness, and also give you an explanation as to why I think I've been struggling with this itchiness that literally suddenly appeared out of the blue. If you're new to my channel, my name is Kate. I share a weekly video with you every single Monday around something related to menopause. I am currently 55, or am I 56? 1970, 55. And don't take HRT. Nothing really against HRT. I just chose to do the holistic route. I do sometimes talk about HRT, but on the whole, everything that I share on here is lifestyle and natural related. Today, I'm going to break it down as to why you might be getting itchy skin, why what used to work may no longer be working, and how to soothe your skin naturally. I'll also share the facial oil recipe that I've been using for the last few years, and I think it works incredibly well, a lot better than the super expensive stuff I have used in the past. And I'm also going to share a few healthy cleanser and also exfoliating recipes that you might want to consider if you are struggling with itchy skin, or if you're looking for something that's a bit more natural based. Firstly, why do we tend to get more itchy or sensitive skin as we get older? The short answer is that your estrogen levels drop, and your skin has something to say about that. That's one of the reasons why you can wake up one morning and you just think, holy heck, what happened? Where did my skin go? I've inherited the skin of a dragon, and you look like a shrunken raisin on the dashboard of your car in a heat wave. I know, I feel exactly the same way, and one day it was quite shocking. And I think it was just this sort of thing happened overnight. All of a sudden, the collagen and elastin seemed to be going. I wasn't sure if I'd got a hairy upper lip or if it was wrinkles. I wasn't actually sure which I wanted it to be. It turned out to be a bit of both, in actual fact. I think I'd have rather had the hairy lip, because at least I can epilate that. The wrinkles are there to stay. I don't do Botox, don't do fillers, never had any lifts. I think that's important to say, because there are so many people out there who go, oh no, I've just got really great genes. And you can tell their forehead looks like a bloody ice rink. And if you want to put Botox in, that's absolutely fine. If you want to use fillers, absolutely fine. I think if it makes you feel better, bloody do what you want to do. But personally, I would say clear of fillers. Personally, I would also steer clear of Botox. A lot of the sort of the plastic surgeons that say a lot of sense, with the more you use the Botox, the less your muscles are being used. So technically, if you can no longer continue to use Botox, for whatever reason that might be, your muscles, because they've not been used, because they've been paralyzed for so long, you're going to look even wrinklier, or even more droopier. So bear that in mind. Fillers, I think, again, you see it with a lot of these incredibly wealthy celebrities, and their face looks so strange because they've just sort of overdone it. In all honesty, if I was literally loaded, I would probably go and have a really subtle facelift, just to sort of get the jowls out, because I've got jowls, and maybe just lift everything up a tiny bit. But it would be super subtle. I don't want to look like I'm sort of 25 anymore. I think that's kind of weird. I'm embracing getting older, and if I never get the facelift, it's not going to make me any unhappier. More importantly is knowing that we all have a good heart, and that what smiles at us in the mirror in the morning has those sparkly eyes, and your eyes tell a whole lot more than the amount of wrinkles or lack of wrinkles on your face. So if you are one of those people who's really struggling to accept the way your body's changing, please don't, because your eyes will never ever lose their sparkle. Just on a quick adjunct, I remember when my dad, bless him, was in his last few days of life, and he had the sparkliest eyes ever till the day he died. And I will never, ever forget that sparkle. And while his body around him literally crumbled, he had multiple myeloma, he never lost that sparkle in his eyes. So keep that sparkle going, because that is way more important than any amount of wrinkles or lack of wrinkles. And so as we get older, our skin gets thinner, it gets more brittle, it gets drier, we lose the amount of collagen and elastin in our skin. Essentially, it's like you've got shingles on your roof of your house, and they've been a bit too sunbaked, and they go a bit crinkly, and they get a bit cracked. That is essentially what happens to our stratum corneum, which is the exterior layer of your skin layers. So technically it's dead, But when it gets dried and brittle, it does allow those little micro tears. It allows more inflammation, just increased sensitivity. And that is highly likely to be what might be causing the itching that you might be feeling that you've got. Literally, I had been outside for a while. I had just started using a really expensive softening lotion and very deeply hydrating cream for older women. I've used it in the past. It was gifted to me as a birthday present. It cost a flipping fortune. And I just felt like I'd got lice, invisible things. I was scratching my forehead like crazy. I was scratching under my chin. It's just like, oh, get this skin off my face. And I'm sure it's because I'd switched from my all natural oil to this more expensive cream. And I'm going back to my oil because it works a lot better for me. And you might find the same is happening to you. Also, in the Northern Hemisphere right now, it's cold. You might have your central heating on, you might have fires going. So your internal home air is quite dry. And of course, outside it's much harsher. It tends to be cold wind. And, if you're anything like me, you get outside and walk the dogs for a while every day, and it can be absolutely really bitter. We tend to go paddleboarding as well, even in the really cold weather. And of course, that plays havoc with your skin. So to have something that actually nourishes the skin and penetrates the skin, as well as creating a natural barrier to your skin, will help to prevent and reduce that sensitivity and or itching that you might be feeling. Another reason why your more expensive treatments or shop bought formulas are no longer working is because they often contain preservatives, various alcohols, emulsifiers, fragrance. They may include parabens, sulfates, things that are just not kind to your skin. And with your skin becoming more fragile, it's time to treat it like your little cherub and give it some nourishment, but also natural nourishment that will feed and protect it. So a lot of the recipes that I will share today are actually oil-based. There are a few recipes if you struggle with oily skin. So, take a look at those. I will list them all in the description box so that you can just screenshot it or copy and paste it from the description, but I'll also cover them in large part in today's video. The reason for using oils is that oils mimic your natural lubrication of the oils that your body produces. They can soothe inflammation, they help to protect the skin barrier, they reduce the itching, the inflammation, they actually feed the skin. And if you combine those oils, carrier oils, with certain essential oils too, you get the additional benefit of using those essential oils. Oils and essential oils do get absorbed by the body to a certain degree, but only a microscopic amount. And when you're using essential oils, follow the ratios that I suggest in the ingredients, in the recipes. But you're not putting so much on because they're really powerful. So don't think, oh, I love the smell of lavender or geranium or rosemary or whatever it is, and go stick loads of drops in, because that actually might be inflammatory to your skin. But the oils and the recipes that I share below will, if you use them in the right proportions, will actually contribute to soothing your skin, helping regenerate your skin, helping to protect the skin, helping in some instances to reduce the risks of skin cancer, but also glow. When your skin feels healthy and well moisturized and nice and supple, there is just something really lovely about living in that type of skin. When you're feeling dry and wrinkly and just itchy and irritated, I don't know about you, it really impacts how I feel in my day. It makes me feel more irritated. It feels like I'm using energy on things that I shouldn't be wasting energy on. So when my skin feels good, then I think that has a knock-on impact to your mental health. There's enough to deal with when you go through the menopause. You might be feeling irritable anyway. You might be sleeping badly. You might have all these other stressors in your life. Well, don't let your skin be a stressor. Look after your skin, and it will cost you a fraction of what you're probably paying for your skincare right now. What I use is very easily available. I will link some products below. Incidentally, if you love your skincare, or if you're wanting to check the health of the skincare that you use, try the Environmental Working Group, EWG database, their website. It is really helpful. You can pop in the brand that you use, and it will give you a rating of how safe or unsafe the ingredients are that are in the various products that brand creates. So, if you're thinking, well, I actually quite like what I use, it seems to work fine for me, cross-check it with the EWG database, and then you'll know for sure if, in fact, it's being beneficial for your skin, and it doesn't contain those harmful additives which can dry out your skin, cause that added inflammation and itchiness that you might be struggling with. First of all, I'm talking about cleansing. Most of us go wrong with our cleansing routine. We use products that are too harsh. Now, I tend to use one or two types of products. I make my own. And when I run out of my own and I haven't had chance just to make a new batch, I use Cetaphil, Cetaphil. I'll link it below. They do one for oily skin and they also do one for normal skin. I find that works really, really well. It's a gentle cleanser. It doesn't foam. It doesn't make your skin really dry. And it's pretty effective at taking makeup off. In fact, I never use a normal makeup remover. On the whole, I would highly recommend you use an oil-based cleanser. And you might think, yeah, but that's going to leave me feeling all oily and sticky. If you struggle with really oily skin, I would probably err towards the Cetaphil. If you have normal skin like I have, or you have dry skin or sore patches, I would definitely try the oil cleanser. When I use the oil cleanser, and in fact, I'm going to make a batch today because the weather's so much colder now and I'm feeling like my skin just needs a little bit of extra TLC, then you just don't strip anything off your skin. And oil begets oil. So you might think it's going to clog up your pores and just make you feel gloopy. No, it doesn't. The oil that you're going to add as your cleanser, also combined with honey, is going to help remove the oil and the makeup off your face effectively. You might need a nice warm flannel afterwards, or a wipe afterwards, not like a baby wipe or something like that, just warm water, or warm water with a few drops of lavender essential oil on it to give your face a final wipe over. But you'll find that your face will feel so lovely with that. And then when you put the serum oil on it afterwards, which I use as my daily moisturizer, I use it morning and night. I'll also drop the recipe for that below. Your skin just feels lovely. You're not stripping it, you're adding to it. It doesn't feel greasy or gloopy, and it works incredibly well. When I do my oil cleanser, I often add some honey with it, some pure honey, and I also add often a little bit of neem powder with it. The neem powder just gives it a little bit of extra, I suppose, gentle exfoliation, but neem powder is also anti-inflammatory. Obviously, honey is anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial. So I normally do half honey, half jojoba oil, or half olive oil. If you have dry skin, maybe try the olive oil. If you have normal skin or slight tendency to oily skin, add the jojoba oil. So it looks like jojoba oil, but it's called jojoba oil. Jojoba oil, and that mimics the skin's natural sort of sebum levels. So you'll find that won't leave your skin feeling greasy. It just leave it feeling soft, supple, and really well nourished. And just to mention the extras, like you'll see vitamin C serum and hyaluronic acid as these really key ingredients for facial preparations. I've tried them in the past because I'd heard vitamin C helps to make your face look more radiant. It can help get rid of liver spots, aging spots. You probably can't see it on here. I've got an aging spot here and I've got one on this side somewhere. Can't see it very well on here either. However, the vitamin C serum made absolutely no difference to them at all. I don't think it made any difference to how bright my face looked in the slightest. The hyaluronic acid, again, I didn't notice any difference with that. And I've tried a variety of different brands. I know it's supposed to plump up your skin, and there are the right and wrong ways to use hyaluronic acid. I believe I was using it the right way. I'd looked at YouTube videos, I'd read the instructions on the pack. I was doing it on moist skin and then putting my cream or my facial oil over the top of that. I honestly don't think it made any difference to me at all. I think one of the key things that you can do if you're wanting to reduce the appearance of wrinkles, etc., is hydrate your body well. Drink lots of water, sleep well, reduce stress as much as you feasibly can do. Eat healthy food. Eat food with healthy fats in it, like avocados, like olives, or use olive oil. Don't be afraid of grass-fed butter. But there are healthy fats that our body absolutely needs. It's a really important part of a healthy diet. I eat probably more healthy fats than I technically should do. I love avocados. I love nuts. I've weaned myself off peanuts recently just because they're so fattening, but I still eat, several walnuts, almonds, hazelnuts, Brazil nuts every single day, because they all help our bodies in slightly different ways. But they're a fat. But we tend to, I think our age, we're still thinking, oh my God, no, it's got to be anti-fat, no fat. Fat is there for a reason. We need fat. You are not going to get fat by eating healthy fat. You might add a few extra calories if you're eating loads of healthy fat, like I was eating loads of peanuts, but healthy fat makes you full. Healthy fat does not spike your insulin levels at all, which are largely responsible for weight gain. So long as you've got it as part and parcel of a healthy diet, so, you're eating your protein, you've got your vegetables, you eat your fruit, you've got your healthy fats, eat your starchy carbs, enjoy your carbs. We need our carbs for a reason. We just don't need a massive, massive bowl of spaghetti with a small amount of bolognese on top. We need a bigger amount of bolognese and a smaller amount of spaghetti, because we don't need all that pasta. So particularly as the day progresses, you need fewer carbs as the day goes on. But I mean, I'll click the link to another video here around about carbs. Carbs are an important aspect of our life, but we don't need as many as the day goes on. Healthy fats will really help you with your skin health. Your healthy gut microbiome will help you with your skin health. So healthy gut, what do you do for that? Eat lots of vegetables. That's the food, that's the fiber. Those are the prebiotics, which then feed the bacteria in your colon. You want to make sure you're eating live bacteria. So Greek yogurt with live bacteria, sauerkraut, drink kombucha, kimchi, kefir, natto. Still got to make some natto. I've not made it yet. Have you tried natto? If you've got a recipe, please drop your recipe for natto in the description box, in the comments box below. I would love to try it. I have got a recipe. I've just not tried it yet. And I would much rather have a recipe that is highly recommended by somebody who I have kind of a relationship with. So if you've got a recipe, please drop it below, because I would really like to try it. And I really feel that your skin looks best when you keep things simple. It will also help your wallet, because it's amazing how much we end up spending on skincare that does it really make any difference? And that's why I no longer use the vitamin C serum, and I no longer use hyaluronic acid. I just rather invest in high quality oils and essential oils, which I make in my little dropper, and I think it works fabulously. So I mentioned the honey, neem powder and olive oil, or jojoba oil as a cleanser, and also Cetaphil. Another cleanser you may want to consider is an oat and honey cleanser. Ideally, you want colloidal oats, which you can make at home. Don't worry about it. It sounds complicated. Just make your oats as small as possible. So if you've got like rolled oats or steel cut oats, put them in like a little herb macerator thing, if you can do. Just make them as small as possible. Add some warm water and let it become this gloopy paste. You probably want about a tablespoon of your broken up oats, a tablespoon of pure honey, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of warm water, just sort of to blend it all together. And then you can use that as a cleanser for your face too. If you've got very sensitive skin, oats are lovely. They will make it feel soft, they'll soothe it. If you have a bath, I mean, you could just slather it on and let it sit there for a few minutes. You could also use it like a mask. I rarely bath, but I use it in the shower, and I just put it on probably while I'm waiting for the conditioner on my hair to do its job, or while I'm washing the rest of my body, and then I just rub it in and then rinse it off, and it just feels lovely afterwards. If you wanted to add a little bit of oil to that, I personally I would add probably 1 to 2 teaspoons of jojoba oil, but that will really cleanse your skin without stripping it of its natural oils. Moving on to natural exfoliation. We don't really want to be rubbing with anything like, a lot of sugar and coconut shell masks and things like that. You want to be looking more at the enzymatic type treatments these days, because again, you don't want to be making those sort of like wooden shingles that have been a bit sun-baked. You don't want to scrub them too hard, because the little splinters are going to come off, and that's what's going to make your skin much more sensitive. So one of my favorites is honey again, and yogurt. Probably a thicker style yogurt, and you just literally mix some honey, some yogurt together, 50-50, put it on your face, let it sit for about 5-10 minutes, and then rinse that off. That's going to soothe your face, it's antibacterial, and it will give you a gentle enzymatic exfoliation. If you like using oats, what you could also do is add a little bit of neem powder to your oats. So maybe have a teaspoon of oats, maybe half or quarter of a teaspoon of neem powder, and then mix that all up, because the neem is anti-inflammatory. Add a little bit of warm water to that and apply that for 1 to 2 minutes. If I was using that for 1 to 2 minutes, I would just gently sort of circulate it a little bit as I'm rinsing it off, just to, have a small amount of gentle rubbing on it, because you've only got it on for 1 to 2 minutes. If you have oily or spot prone skin, you could use bentonite clay. You can also drink bentonite clay. If ever I've got an upset tummy, I have a teaspoon of bentonite clay in some water. You have to mix it up and let it sit for about 20 minutes, because the water gets a bit, or the clay gets a bit clumpy in the water first. So it just needs time to absorb the water. Then it will mix into a nice sort of drink. I actually love it. It does taste a bit muddy or clayey, but I actually really like that. But you can use bentonite clay also on your skin. The reason I take it with an upset tummy is it draws out impurities from your body. So we are constantly absorbing heavy metals from the atmosphere, whether we're breathing it in, whether it's from our drinking water, just, existing in a world that is full of toxins these days. Bentonite clay, if you take it internally, will help to attract the positive ions. So positive ions are the bad ones. Negative ions is what is in the bentonite clay, and it helps to extract some of those heavy metals. So it's a really useful thing to drink every month, I would say, as a maintenance, or like I say, if you've got like an acidic tummy, have a glass of bentonite clay. You'll find that will really soothe your stomach. But on your face, it's also really cleansing. It's really soothing. You can mix, say, a teaspoon or a couple of teaspoons of bentonite clay. You could also add some oats to that if you wanted to have it particularly soothing. I would also add a little bit of honey, because it will help it stick to your skin. Honey is also antibacterial, and maybe a small amount of water, or indeed some more runny Greek yogurt, and because then you're going to get that enzymatic effect too. So a lot of these things you can sort of work with depending on what you've got available. But if you left that on for 5 to 10 minutes and then just rinse that off with warm water, again, that's going to have a really purifying, soothing, calming effect on your skin. And as for regularity, I would probably do, if you've got loads of spare time, I'd probably do a face mask twice a week. Realistically, once a week. If you deep condition your hair once a week, maybe combine that with the same day that you do your face mask. So onto the facial oil. Now you might think, okay, oil, but do I not need shea butter or coconut butter or some kind of butter in order to make it into a cream? I don't think you do. I've used the sort of creamy base things from organic, natural companies before in the past. I like them. I feel that they make your skin too oily, and I don't really feel like it absorbs into your skin ever so well. I feel like you've always got like a little bit of a sheen onto your skin. With this oil recipe that I use, it absorbs really, really well. I do put it on slightly damp skin. So as soon as I'm out of the shower, it's one of the, first of all, I have like a salt rock. It literally is just a rock of Himalayan salt with a smooth edge. I use that as my deodorant. And then as soon as I put my salt on my wet armpits, I then literally straight into my oil, and I put a few drops of the oil, and I just literally massage it into my face and my neck and my décolletage. And I use that morning and night. It doesn't make my pillow greasy. If I wear makeup in the day, I just give it a few minutes to soak in fully. Then I can put makeup on. I rarely wear makeup. I actually hate wearing like foundation or powders on my face. Sometimes I'll wear mascara, but I actually don't like the feel of makeup on my skin. But I feel if you're lucky enough to have skin that has a reasonable skin tone, particularly if you're outside quite a lot, which I am, and it gives you rosy cheeks, I quite like that look. I'm not a great fan of really heavy makeup, so you take it as what you prefer to wear. But even if you do wear makeup, it won't make you greasy beneath the makeup, and it won't make your makeup run. I've got hooded eyelids, and if I'd got greasy skin because of that facial oil, I would literally have mascara all around my eyes. And yeah, if I was like squinting in the sun all day, I would definitely have panda eyes at the end of it. But on the whole, it won't do that to you. So as the carrier oils, I use rosehip, jojoba, and castor oil. For the essential oils, I use frankincense, lavender, sandalwood, rosewood sometimes, and carrot seed oil. Rosehip oil contains vitamin A and C. That's brightening. It's really good for collagen regeneration. Jojoba is naturally moisturizing, and it matches or mimics the skin's natural sebum, so the natural oil that we produce. And castor oil, well, you're probably not new to hearing about castor oil. I love it for my facial oil. If ever I'm going up the mountains in cold, when I seem to have this habit of going up when it's all icy and snowy on the top, and I have to abandon my journey because I always go up with the dogs and it becomes too dangerous to have the dogs, even though they've got four legs at the top of the mountain because it's just so icy. And often it's literally blowing a hoolie. So I often put more castor oil on my skin on those days. And I come back and my skin feels absolutely fine. So castor oil really works. It is anti-inflammatory. It does feed your skin. I don't believe in all these things, and I might get some kickback from this. Personally, I don't think it's made my eyelashes any thicker or denser or longer. I don't think it makes my eyebrows any thicker, denser or longer. There are reports of people saying, well, rub it on your tummy button or fill your tummy button full of it and rub it all over your belly and wear a warm pack over your belly and all of a sudden your belly fat will go. It doesn't. It may have an anti-inflammatory effect on belly, on your body. And if you can reduce inflammation, that will have an effect on helping to reduce the stress in your body, which will then help to contribute to the loss of belly fat. But slathering a load of castor oil on you is it's sticky. You could always, thin it down with a carrier oil, which to a degree is what we do in this facial oil. But I'm not a great believer in all of these people banding around these amazing results around castor oil. I've tried a lot of them, and I honestly don't think it makes any difference. Yes, it will protect your skin. Yes, it is anti-inflammatory. A lot of other oils are anti-inflammatory too. It's not a miracle cure, but used wisely and in small amounts, it can really contribute to healthy skin. Frankincense is regenerative. It's also anti-cancerous. Lavender is relaxing. It's soothing. If you don't have lavender or you don't like the smell of lavender, you could try chamomile. Chamomile essential oil is also lovely. If you added sandalwood, that is anti-inflammatory. And carrot seed oil is just one of the best things that you can use for mature skin. Anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, regenerative. If I could only use a couple of those things, I would probably do carrot seed oil and rosehip oil. And maybe a little bit of castor oil. But the others make it smell nice, and that they all contribute to this lovely package of a really nice experience, not only to use because of the fragrances, but it goes on really easily, and it is just super nourishing for getting older skin. So if your skin is feeling a bit rebellious, it is likely down to the stage of life, and aren't we lucky that we've got this far? And possibly, environmental stressors, and the fact that your skin is just more sensitive. It needs you to feed it and nourish it. And some of the things that you may used to have used that were brilliant in the olden days might not be as effective and may in fact even be contributing to skin sensitivity these days. The good news is that once you've mixed your stuff up, the essential oils, the carrier oils, so long as you look after them in a cool, dark place, they will last for years and years. So once you've mixed it, I use a little glass dropper. It's got like a little sucky thing on the top, one of those jobs. I can never remember what they're called. I make a sort of little, it's about that diameter and it's about that high, and that keeps me going for ages. You will save yourself a fortune. I think you'll find it'll have a really positive impact on how your skin feels, how your skin looks. You'll get that glow. You'll get that sense of just feeling fuller in your skin. And it's dead easy to make. So rather than making this video really long and going into all the intricacies of the various ingredients, etc., they are in the description. Take a look at those and then you can screenshot them or copy and paste them. If I get chance, I think I'm going to run out of time, but if I do get chance, I will put them into a quick PDF for you so you can literally download that. Otherwise, apologies if I don't get around to doing that, but all the information is in the description box. So have a look at that. Choose just two things. Maybe choose, one of the cleanser options, or maybe a mask. But that oil, I literally swear about that oil. That is what I use all the time, morning and night. And like I say, if I'm going out and I know I'm going to be in a very hot environment or a very cold, harsh environment, I will just add a little more castor oil to the recipe that is my standard face oil. And that's dead easy. I've got a bottle of castor oil in my bathroom. If I need a little bit extra, I literally just do a couple of turns onto my hand. I'm not even like holding it so it can go glug, 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 glug. I'm literally just doing that and then turning it up. So I've got like a circle of oil there. I do that twice, and then I drop a few drops of my facial oil onto my hands, rub them in, and put it onto your face. But try and remember to have your face damp, slightly damp, not wet, but slightly damp before you put the oil on. Just seems to lock in more moisture, and it makes the oil go on slightly easier. It's not a problem. By the way, there are a few tips. For instance, if you're using the honey for your cleansing or for your face pack, and you're thinking, oh gosh, the honey keeps going solid, either keep it in your airing cupboard or next to your boiler, so it's always a little bit warmer, or you can just put it in a bowl of warmish water before you actually use it for about 5 minutes. Not hot water, because we want the honey to maintain its healthy properties. And if you're putting it in the microwave, or if you're putting it in very hot water, you're going to negate the anti-inflammatory, antibacterial properties that you get naturally in the honey. So if crystallized honey is a problem for you, it might just be that you want to swap for something else. I love the honey. I often buy the most expensive runny honey that I can find. It tends to be the more expensive honey that crystallizes sooner, but the runny honey, if you can just get a good quality pure runny honey, that should actually see you through pretty well, because once you've mixed it up, you can make quite a large batch, particularly if you mix the honey with a little bit of oil. You can then just keep that in a container, and then if you want to add your Greek yogurt to it, or maybe some oats as well, you mix and match. Adding a spoon of Greek yogurt and a few oats to it, it takes seconds. So be brave with it. Try out some of the recipes. If you try them out and you just think, oh, I absolutely love this one, or I've done this one and I tweaked it slightly, I added this, or I took out that, please share it in the comments below, because it'd be really interesting, not just for me to see what you've said, but also for anybody else who watches this video. It's really nice, I think, just to have recommendations of oils, cleansers and exfoliators that work, that don't cost a fortune, and you can see somebody living that experience of having used it, and I absolutely swear by them. So give them a try, and please leave your feedback. I'd be really interested to hear how you get on with whichever you try. And thank you so much for your company. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, then you won't miss future episodes. As always, I've loved sharing my facts and information with you, and I will look forward to catching you next week.